let's talk about the Ford original PI intake manifold. This OEM Ford intake is the exact same production intake that was used on 2002 to 2004 Mustangs. No revisions have been made and all of the factory hardware is reused. The intake that's branded as Ford Performance is the same intake as the original, it's just sold under the Ford Performance brand. You will need to purchase new intake gaskets and a new thermostat gasket with this intake, as the only gasket that is pre-installed is the plenum gasket. This intake will not affect horsepower and torque if you're replacing an existing Ford PI intake. Now, depending on what intake is on your car or the situation that you're in, you'll find yourself needing additional parts. The first scenario you'll run into is if you're replacing a Ford intake with a Dorman intake manifold. This is the easiest scenario since Dorman supplies everything you need relative to the intake to install it on the car. The obvious things that you don't get are supplies and tools. Scenario 2 would be if you're replacing a Dorman intake with a revised Ford intake. You'll need EGR bracket to intake bolts, coil on plug bolts, fuel rail bolts,